Healing.
Here.
Tranquility.
Quiet.
Peaceful.
Clarity.
Beautiful.
Awakening.
When we think about being outside, we often are reminded of the value and positivity it brings into our lives, the way it connects us with each other and to the world around us.
With other kids, their brains are activated in another way. They're creative, they're thinking, their patience is increased.
So why do we turn our backs on something so great?
It's isolating.
Addicting.
Distracting.
Harmful.
Disruptive.
Consuming.
In the science community, we always say, like, if you're going to release a drug, you have to do all kinds of tests before you release it to humans and say it's safe. Whereas with technology, there was really no testing. Now it just was released, and we're trying to see what happens. And now we're trying to realize, hey, we should be backpedaling and limiting that exposure.
As a result of the lack of testing, there are many negative effects that technology has on people.
They're more irritable. Like when they're on the screen, first of all, they don't listen. I'll have to call out to them more times, trying to get their attention, right? I'll call out their names. They're like glued. Like it's hard to get them to actually make eye contact.
Even though I limit their screens, in limiting their screens, if my son is like super into his video game that he's playing or whatever, he gets really angry or like really, really emotional to the point of like, I guess toddlers, he's not a toddler anymore, but he has a bit of like a tantrum for a second while he like regulates himself back into normal world from screens.
As these students make their way into high school, like there's a lot of effects it has on them. So it affects them mentally, it affects them emotionally, it affects them physically, it disrupts their sleep, which affects their academic performance in school. It affects mood swings. There's a big one, like a lot of studies that talk about how it affects sleep and decreases melatonin before bedtime, which disrupts their sleep cycles. And so a lot of studies have shown that their marks have declined when that happens.
Of all these effects, the greatest one that impacts our youth today is screen time addiction.
I noticed, like with my little guy, I noticed that he wasn't always making eye contact, right? And I mean, there could be other factors involved, but otherwise, like socially, there's no other concerns. So I noticed, and I just started tracking that when he's on the phone or on the iPad, whatever device, it's like looking at me, but then looking back. And it's like almost like addictive kind of behavior. I don't know.
I know that we don't want our kids to live on screens. I know I don't want my kids to live on screens. Kids will take it for as long as they want. If I let my son play his video game, he'd play it all day. If I let my daughter watch, I don't know, Netflix, whatever, one of her shows all day, she would just continuously watch it.
While difficult, there are ways to manage screen time.
They can only use educational apps for a short period of time, and there's a time limit. So after it's assigned by the parents, so after an hour, like the device just shuts off on its own. But we try to encourage our kids to like think about turning them off before that happens.
I think for a new parent, you have to limit it. And outdoor, to me, was always necessary. It makes everybody in a better mood, including myself.
There are no devices allowed at dinner time. So dinner time is family time. And so that is a strict rule in our house, as well as like no devices allowed at bedtime.
We have a dog, so we always said that our responsibility is to make sure that Stella gets a walk, and she needs a good 45-minute walk in the morning and again at night. So if it's either before dinner or after dinner, we just get them on their scooters, on their rollerblades, or on their bikes. And we have several parks in our neighborhood, so we go for a walk a minimum of once a day, sometimes twice.
Make sure that they're involved in at least one organized activity.
Today's kids are growing up in a digital world, connected but often disconnected from nature, play, and face-to-face relationships. Teachers at Loretto Abbey see this firsthand in both their students and kids of their own. But balance is possible. It's not only about removing screens completely, but it is about making time for things that it might replace. It may be challenging, but together, we can live in a world where we are all less disconnected.